Dear student, due to coronavirus, school started online classes for your study. So you can subscribe Golden Flower Palia YouTube channel, like and press the bell icon.
Today we are going to discuss atomic structure, class 11th chemistry, and in this particular topic, in this particular chapter, we will discuss about atom and a number of structures which are lying inside the atom. Okay, and this is a very basic chapter, and rest of the chemistry is depends upon this chapter. Okay, so everybody has to know what is atom. So Dalton told us, if you will grind a material into a small pieces, very small pieces, then afterward very small pieces, the smallest particle that you get, it is atom, and it is indivisible. That was the Dalton's atomic theory. It is indivisible. Okay, that means you cannot further divide the atom into other particles. Many of you are knowing that atom is consist of three fundamental particles, that is electron, proton and neutron. Okay, so according to Dalton, atom was indivisible and it was the smallest unit of a material, and after that the theory came, a number of scientists came, they discovered a lot of things, and they came to know atom can further be divided into three fundamental particles. So atom is consisting of three fundamental particles. So how could they know about that atom is consisted of these three fundamental particles? So in today's topic we will discuss about the discovery of one of the particle among these three fundamental particles, and that particle is electron. So we are going to discuss about the discovery of electron in this topic. Okay, so discovery of electron, and it was done by a very simple experiment that is called cathode ray tube. Okay, cathode ray tube. Somewhere it is written HCRT, hot cathode ray tube. He has discovered the electron by using the cathode ray tube. Okay, HCRT, hot cathode ray tube. Okay, what was that? What was the hot cathode ray tube? I'm making a figure, then I'll explain you how the discovery was. So what is that? This is a hot cathode ray tube. This is a cathode ray tube, you simple call it. And what is it consist of? You can see that this hot cathode ray tube is made up of a glass. Okay, this is made up of glass, and there was two metal plates. There are two metal plates. One of the metal plate is connected to the negative terminal of a battery, and another metal plate is connected to the positive terminal of the battery. Which plate is connected to the negative terminal? That plate we call cathode, and the plate which is connected to the positive terminal of the battery, that we call anode. Okay, so one cathode we are having and one anode we are having. Okay, this anode is made up of a plate having some holes in it, and behind this anode plate the glass tube is coated with zinc sulfide. It is coated with zinc sulfide. Actually it is a fluorescent material or phosphorescent material. Okay, I'll tell you the function about afterward. So J.J. Thomson has discovered the electron using this cathode ray, which cathode ray was consisted of two plate, cathode and anode, which were connected to a battery, external battery, and that external source of light was having voltage about 10,000 volt. I'll tell you the function of this 10,000 volt of voltage also. Okay, why we are being applying this much high voltage to the cathode ray tube. One more thing you could see that this glass tube has one of the vacuum pump installed. Okay, what is the use of this vacuum pump? This vacuum pump is used for sucking the air from the glass tube to remove the air from the glass tube. Okay, so this was the total arrangement of hot cathode ray, and using this hot cathode ray, he came to know that some particles are there in an atom which has negative charge on them. Okay, so let's discuss about what he has done to discover the electron which is present in the atom. Okay, so let us start. First, what he has done, first he has kept the pressure inside the tube about 1 mmHg. You might be knowing this mmHg. What is mmHg? Hg is mercury, mm is the height. It is a column, height of mercury column. Okay, and using this particular unit we can know that how much pressure there it is inside the cathode ray. Okay, so when the pressure inside the tube it is 1 mm, he couldn't see anything. He has not seen any activity inside the cathode ray tube. Okay, so no activity was there inside the tube. Then what he has done? He decreases this pressure about 100 times. Okay, so now he has kept the pressure about 0.01 mmHg inside the tube, and he found that there is some glow between cathode and anode. Okay, some glow there it is present between cathode and anode. Between these two electrodes some glow is being appeared. Okay, a glow is appeared between two electrodes. Okay, so something was happening after reducing the pressure about 100 times. He has seen some glow is being appeared between the two electrodes. And third, what he has done, he has seen that pressure is doing something, and about reducing the pressure we could see the different kind of results in it, were different kind of conclusion he came out. So what he has done, again he reduced the pressure of cathode ray by the 100 times. Now he has kept the pressure of 10 to the power minus 4 mmHg. That means 100 times more he has reduced the pressure of air inside the tube using this vacuum pump. Okay, he was sucking up the air from the cathode ray. So what he could see that after reducing more 100 times the pressure inside the cathode ray tube, and he has done a cleverness that he made that cathode with some holes, and he has seen some glow is appeared on the coating on the coating that was behind the anode plate. On this coating some glow was getting appeared, but between these two electrons nothing was there. Okay, there the glow which was appearing at 10 to the power minus 2 mmHg, that was disappeared, and now the tube behind the anode was glowing up. Okay, why he has done so? He has done so to find out these particles, whatever particles are getting elaborated, getting emitted from some of the electrode that he was not knowing about. These electrons, these particular particles are getting emitted from cathode or emitting from the anode. So after reducing the pressure of 10 to the power minus 4 mmHg and getting the glow behind the anode plate, he came to know some of the particles are getting emitted from the cathode and they are moving toward the anode. And what was anode? Anode was positively charged, cathode was negatively charged. So when anode was positively charged, that means cathode rays, because they were producing from the cathode, and they were consisting of negatively charged particle because they were moving toward the anode, and anode was the positive electrode. So negatively charged particle are hitting to the positively charged electrode. So these were the cathode rays. So now we came to a conclusion that cathode rays are consisted of negatively charged particle. So what we have to do now? So now we have to study the property of cathode rays, and from the cathode rays we came to know how much charge it is there on the particle which are making the cathode rays, okay, and what is the mass of that particle. And they call this electron, this negatively charged particle through which the cathode rays are consisted of, that particular negatively charged particle they call as electron. Okay, so what was the properties of cathode rays? Properties of cathode rays we have to study here. Okay, the first property was properties of cathode rays. Okay, the first is cathode rays consisted of negatively charged particles. They consisted of negatively charged particle. Second was cathode rays move in a straight line. Straight line. So how he could know that they are moving in a straight line? He kept an object, an opaque object in the path of cathode rays, and he has seen that when this object is kept in the path of cathode rays, it's a sharp shadow is formed. Its sharp shadow is formed, and this is the property of light also. When light in the path of light you are keeping some opaque object, it is making its shadow. Okay, so from this particular conclusion we came to know that light is moving in a straight line. Similarly, he could estimated that cathode rays are moving in a straight line, because when an object is kept in the path of cathode rays, its shadow is being formed. Next it is third, cathode rays has some kinetic energy. Whatever particles they are made up of, they have some kinetic energy. And how could he know that they have some kinetic energy? He kept a paddle fan in the path of cathode rays, and when the cathode rays falls on this paddle fan is moving. Okay, it is getting rotated. So when it is getting rotated, that means something is hitting to that fan which is rotating this fan. That means the particle which consist the cathode rays, they have some kinetic energy. So ultimately we call this cathode rays are having kinetic energy. Fourth point it is, when electric and magnetic field is applied, they deviate from its path. They deviate from its path. What does mean of this particular statement? It means they have some charge on it. That is why they are being deviated when electric and magnetic field is applied. So when you are applying the electric field, they will turn toward the positive plate. Okay. When you are applying the magnetic field, they will move in a circular path. Okay. This is the property of charged particle. When charged particle is applied with the electric field or magnetic field, an electric field or magnetic field you are applying on the charged particle, so moving charged particle will move toward any of the plate which is applying the electric field, and will move in a circular path when you are applying the magnetic field. And fifth very important point he came to know, he came to a conclusion that E upon M ratio of particle consisting cathode rays is 1.758 into 10 to the power 11 Coulomb kilogram inverse. Okay, this he has done something very much important. And through this particular statement, we came to know what is the charge of an electron and what is the mass of an electron. Okay, so E by M ratio, where E is the charge of particle and M is the mass of particle. So charge upon mass ratio, he could find 1.758 into 10 to the power 11 Coulomb kilogram inverse. Okay. And the sixth one, it is using above approximation of J.J. Thomson, R.A. Millikan. He was another scientist. He has done oil drop experiment. So he has done oil drop experiment, and by this experiment he could find the charge of electron and mass of electron. So using above approximation of J.J. Thomson, R.A. Millikan came to know charge of electron is equal to 1.6022 into 10 to the power minus 19 Coulomb, and mass of electron is 9.1 into 10 to the power minus 31 kilogram. So this was the today's topic, discovery of neutron, and as well as some of other experiments. Okay. So this topic is going to be very important in some of the days, and a whole of the chemistry is based on this topic only.
Do self-study at home and stay home, save lives. Thank you very much.